Good, I have the script running at the moment, and as you can see, the loop is doing its job, so it's printing out working hours in the command line here every 5 seconds. And now it's 15 past 12, so that is between 8 AM and 4 PM. Now we'll go ahead and add some lines here. So I'm thinking of keeping these statements here, these print statements, but also adding more lines here which correspond to file handling methods, which will access this hosts file and modify it depending on the time. Now, something that you should be aware about is this host file can only be modified by the administrator, which is if I run the Python program, I would have to open a command line to run the command line as administrator. So if you run on Linux or Mac, you do the same by using sudo. For instance, in this case, I open this command line by just right-clicking in here. So shift right-click and open command window here. But that will not run the command line as an administrator. So, which underlies that with this simple console, I cannot access this host file. So, in other words, you need to run your Python program with a command line or terminal where you have administrative rights. And for the sake of building the program, it's more wise to just copy this host file and just paste it here, where your script file is. The reason I'm doing that is because here I'll not have to open a command line as administrator every time I test my script. So once I make sure that the things are working well, then I just change the path. So at the moment I'll not work with this path. I'll work with this, let's say, hosts temp for temporary, and which is directly equal to the hosts file name, because hosts is just here in the same folder with website blocker.py. And besides making a working copy of this host file, you also want to make a backup copy of the host file, just in case you make some errors there in your Python code and you delete the file, or you just delete some content from your existing host file. And I'm just gonna copy this and just put it here, so paste it there in my D drive. And yeah, I'll just close the path of the real host file for now until I have a working script that modifies this host file successfully. This one here. Great. Now I can open this actually here on the right and close it here. Good, I think this is a good layout for you to see the code well. And yeah, what do we have to do now? Oh, well, we're checking the current time against these two other datetime values. And we have two scenarios. So in the first scenario, we are between these two times. And in that case, when we are between these two times, we want to make sure that we have 4 lines of text here in the host file, where each corresponds with each of these list items. Of course, together with the redirecting IP in the front. So the same format as you see here, but without the comment tag. And here we can go ahead and open this host file now with the open method and write the list items in the host file. However, we may also want to check first if these 4 lines already exist in the host file, because the host file can have 2 statuses. So the first status is the host file is without these 4 lines there, and the other status is the host file has these 4 lines. Therefore, you want to check for them. And to check these lines, you first need to read the host file in Python. So you want to apply a read method to your file, and then maybe add a loop that iterates through this list. And in each iteration, you apply a conditional that says, if a list item in content, where content is text you have read from the host file, so if that item is in the content, then don't do anything, otherwise add that item in the host file. So let's go ahead and do that with open hosts path. Sorry, that would be host temp. Host path is a path that we'll be using later. So host temp. We want to open that file using well, if we use the read method, so R, we could read the file content, but we wouldn't be able to write within this statement, within the with statement. And if you pass W, you wouldn't be able to read. The middle solution there is to use R+. With that, you'll be able to read and write. So sfile. And yeah, before writing anything, we want to first check there. So let's say content equals to file.read. And what content will contain is the entire text of the host file. And actually we could print that out just to see what we have this far. So normally you don't want to print that out, but in this case just for demonstration. And it's also good to check where we are this far. So Python website blocker, and so yeah, we got the text of the host file printed out. And before that, working hours was printed out, and now every 5 seconds the working hours and the content of the host file are being printed out. So I'll stop this. We're doing well. Now that we have the content, we want to iterate through the website list. So for website, in website list, for instance, the first item will be this one. So if facebook.com with website in content, so if this is in this content, in this text, and we are in the working hours in this part of the if conditional, so if Facebook is there already, we don't want to do anything, because that will already block our Facebook website. So we pass there, which means that Python will go ahead and check for other lines. So it will go here. So it says else will not be executed in this case because if was executed. So if that is not executed, then Python goes to the next line and it sleeps for 5 seconds. And then once it sleeps for 5 seconds, the loop starts over again and the condition is being evaluated again. Working hours is printed out if we are between these two times. And then we open the file again in the second iteration of the while loop. And we read the text, and then we iterate in our list and check if any of our list items is in the text of the host file. And then we pass to the next lines if it is not there. And if it's there, we want to file.write. You do something like website, and yeah, we're almost there. We can check what we get this far so that you understand. So I executed this, and now you see that www.facebook.com was added in the host file, and then the next item of the list, facebook.com, and then my Hotmail account, and so on. So the 4 items of the list. Which means the structure of our code is working well. We just need to work a bit on the style, on the text formatting. And so we're printing out the website, but we also want the redirect IP in there. Actually, the first one should be redirect variable, this one. And then according to the host file style, we should have a space there. As you can see, it says the IP address and the host name should be separated by at least one space. And that's what we'll do. So redirect, what you can do here is plus one space within double quotes. And then we have plus website. And then to avoid the text being passed in one single line, you want to pass here the \n special character. That will create break lines between these text items. Great, now I can check this. Well, nothing will happen because Facebook is already there. So I'm just gonna stop this and delete this. And yeah, now it's working well. And by the way, if you have an antivirus in your system, you probably have some warning there because the host file is a bit sensitive. So your antivirus will be notifying you that some program is modifying your host file. If you want, you can just you can cancel this. Don't do any cleaning. You don't have to clean it because you know that you're the one who is accessing that host file. So cancel that. And yeah, it's working well, I believe. And we are done with the first part of the conditional. So now we are in this time, which is between these 2 hours. But if you were, let's say, 13 here, stop this, check again. In this case, we get printed out these fun hours, but the text in the host file will be still there. So what we want to do next is remove this text from the host file when this part of the conditional is satisfied. And we'll do that in the next lecture. So, see you there.